As viewers, we might assume Avatar 2009 is simply a movie about blue aliens, intergalactic war, and groundbreaking visual effects. But once the awe fades, a strange thought often follows. Why does this film feel heavier than it looks? The deeper you think about it, the clearer it becomes. Avatar carries layers of stories, rumors, and controversies hidden behind its beauty. Each fact pulls us further in, and trust me, this story is far more complicated than what we saw in theaters. But have you ever wondered why Avatar feels like a film that arrived ahead of its time? As viewers, we might assume the movie was made when the technology was finally ready. In reality, James Cameron had written the story back in the early 1990s. For years, the project was considered impossible. Industry rumors suggested several studio executives believed Cameron's ambition, especially after Titanic, was spiraling out of control, and that pushing Avatar forward could permanently damage his reputation. The twist? That long delay became the film's greatest advantage. Avatar didn't follow technology. It forced technology to evolve to catch up with it. Yet the story doesn't stop there, because even the film's title caused unease behind the scenes. The word avatar comes from Sanskrit, tied to spiritual embodiment and the transfer of consciousness. Cameron deliberately infused ideas of soul, identity, and rebirth into a mainstream blockbuster. According to industry whispers, some studio figures worried these themes might be seen as ideological or controversial, especially in Western markets. Ironically, instead of weakening the film, that spiritual foundation became its emotional core, binding audiences to the story without them fully realizing why. Then another question emerges. Why does Pandora feel more alive than many real places? On the surface, we're dazzled by glowing forests and alien creatures. But behind the scenes, Cameron worked with scientists to design Pandora as a fully functioning ecosystem, complete with food chains, biological logic, and environmental balance. Environmental activists praise the realism, while industry insiders quietly labeled the film a bold critique of real-world resource exploitation. The twist is unsettling. Pandora wasn't designed just to be admired. It was built to make Earth feel deeply out of balance by comparison. Strangely enough, inside this breathtaking world, the story itself feels familiar. Many viewers sense early on where the plot is heading. Humans arrive, exploit foreign land, fall in love with its people, and turn against their own kind. Critics compared Avatar to Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, and classic sci-fi novels. Industry rumors even suggested a few writers considered legal action, only to back off due to the legal power of a major studio like 20th Century Fox. But that familiarity was intentional. Cameron used a known narrative framework, so audiences wouldn't get lost in the plot, allowing the world of Pandora and its message to take center stage. The predictability wasn't a flaw. It was an emotional trap. And if that wasn't enough, there's one detail most viewers overlook: the Na'vi language. To us, it might sound like stylish alien dialogue. In reality, linguist Paul Frommer developed Na'vi as a fully structured language, something rarely done for blockbuster films. Rumors from the production suggested several actors, including Sam Worthington, struggled to maintain pronunciation consistency. There were even internal discussions about simplifying the language for global audiences. Cameron refused. He wanted the language to feel alive. The unexpected result? Fans in the real world began learning and speaking Na'vi, blurring the line between fiction and reality. But all that immersion came at a cost few of us saw. Instead of acting on elaborate sets, the cast spent most of their time in empty rooms wearing motion capture suits. Zoe Saldana later revealed that performing required complete trust in a world that didn't yet exist. Behind-the-scenes rumors painted Cameron as relentlessly demanding, creating an emotionally exhausting environment for the actors. And yet, that pressure became the film's strength. Every subtle movement and expression was captured, giving digital characters a level of emotional honesty that often feels more human than many live-action performances. Which brings us to the biggest question of all: what was truly at stake? With production and marketing costs soaring into the hundreds of millions, Avatar was labeled by the media as James Cameron's ultimate act of arrogance. Internal rumors suggested Fox had contingency plans ready in case the film failed spectacularly. To many, this wasn't just a movie, it was a gamble that could collapse an entire studio. The outcome flipped the narrative entirely. Avatar became the highest-grossing film of all time, turning ridicule into awe and fear into a new industry standard. And at that moment, we begin to realize something as viewers. This film was never just telling a story, it was starting one. But what if we weren't just watching Avatar? What if we were quietly being pushed to take sides? As viewers, we slowly realize the film isn't neutral. Its anti-exploitation message and sharp criticism of corporate greed sparked heated debate. Political commentators accused Avatar of attacking capitalism and portraying the military as villains. James Cameron responded openly, stating that the film was meant as a warning about humanity's future, not an attack on any single nation. The twist is subtle but powerful. We're free to reject the message, but the emotions the film plants continue to work beneath the surface, long after we think we've made up our minds. And yet something stranger happens after the screen goes dark. Why does the emptiness begin after the movie ends? Following Avatar's release, online forums filled with viewers describing feelings of sadness, emptiness, and loss. This phenomenon became known as post-Avatar depression syndrome. Psychologists suggested that Pandora's harmony created an extreme contrast with real life, making our own world feel painfully flawed. Cameron later admitted he never intended this psychological impact, though he acknowledged how deeply audiences connected to the film. The twist is uncomfortable. It wasn't that Pandora was too perfect, it's that we couldn't stop comparing it to our own world, and we didn't like the result. Then a question quietly emerges. Why is it so hard to defend the humans in this story? In Avatar, humans are portrayed almost entirely as destroyers and colonizers. Critics argued the film was too black and white. Some actors playing military roles reportedly received negative reactions from viewers who carried their anger beyond the screen. Cameron explained that these characters were inspired by real-world patterns of modern resource exploitation. The twist is intentional discomfort. Cameron didn't want moral balance. He wanted the audience to feel unsettled, rather than safe inside a familiar gray area. But what if Pandora isn't just fiction? What if it's the director's fear made visible? James Cameron is known not only as a filmmaker, but as a deep-sea explorer and environmental activist. In multiple interviews, he described Pandora as a vision of what humanity could achieve if it lived in balance with nature. Crew rumors suggest Cameron was fiercely protective of the film's environmental message, even engaging in long internal debates with studio executives. The twist is personal. Without realizing it, we're watching Cameron's own anxiety about Earth's future disguised as science fiction. So why did a film that changed cinema still feel like it lost on Hollywood's biggest night? Despite dominating the box office and winning multiple technical Oscars, Avatar lost Best Picture to The Hurt Locker, directed by Catherine Bigelow Cameron's former wife. Hollywood media buzzed with speculation about Academy politics and a preference for gritty, realistic war stories over grand sci-fi spectacle. The twist cuts deeper. Avatar may have lost the trophy, but it won something far more lasting, a permanent place in global cultural memory. Which leads to another uncomfortable thought. Can the Avatar experience ever truly be repeated? After its success, the film industry rushed headfirst into 3D. Studios greenlit projects without preparation, while theaters worldwide were forced to invest heavily in new projection systems. Industry rumors suggest many small theaters nearly collapsed under the financial pressure, as most post-Avatar 3D films failed to deliver the same impact. The irony is striking. Avatar didn't prove that 3D was the future. It proved that technology without vision feels empty. But what happens when a single film means something different in every corner of the world? Avatar wasn't just watched, it was interpreted. In developing countries, Pandora's conflict echoed histories of colonization and resource theft. In parts of Latin America and Asia, the story resonated with indigenous struggles. There were even reports of local communities using Avatar imagery as symbols of cultural protest. The twist is remarkable. Without any political campaign, Avatar evolved into a global language of resistance and injustice. As viewers, we may have entered Avatar looking for entertainment, new technology, or a world to escape into for a few hours. But after uncovering the facts, controversies, and hidden stories behind it, it becomes impossible to see the film as just another blockbuster. There were too many risks taken, too many deliberate messages embedded, and too many emotional reactions that can't be explained by spectacle alone. Behind its beauty, Avatar was born from unease about greed, humanity's fractured relationship with nature, and a future that feels increasingly fragile. Accusations of propaganda, moral debates, and unexpected psychological effects all point to the same conclusion. This film was operating on a deeper level than most people anticipated. And perhaps that's why, even years later, Avatar still refuses to let us look away.